So in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the best perks and field upgrades within Modern Warfare. We'll be focusing on the top 5 perks and the best 2 field upgrades, and I'm going to kind of explain why I chose these individual options and why you should be using them as well. And if you're new here or part of the 72% not currently subscribed, feel free to click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. That way you can stay up to date with the latest Call of Duty news and tips to help you improve. Also, if you enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like rating, as it would be much appreciated. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with that number 5 spot, and there's actually 2 different perks that fill that spot because it was kind of tied and it was very scenario specific. And those 2 perks are Overkill and Hardline. In case you guys aren't familiar with what these perks do, Overkill will allow you to run a primary weapon in your secondary created class slot, so you can basically run with 2 rifles, a rifle and SMG, or the popular combination that I've seen a lot of people do, especially in ground war, is to run a rifle with a shotgun or a rifle with a sniper rifle. And even though I'm seeing this perk used in several modes, I think it's ideally used in ground war. For that reason, it wasn't really that high on my list. And I also went ahead and went with Hardline. And the reason I went with Hardline, because it really depends on your skill level. Most people that are going to really go for high kills don't really need this perk. But if you're on a little bit on the lower end and maybe you go on a 4 or 5 streak very often, you can actually call in one of the most annoying streaks in the entire game, and that is the counter UAV. So that's kind of why I ended up ranking it in that category, because it can actually be pretty useful in that specific scenario. And that brings me to the 4th ranked perk on my list, and that's actually in the perk 3 category, in a perk called Tracker. And I think this one's going to go ahead and make the list because it's pretty useful and there aren't a lot of great perks in that perk 3 category. We're going to go ahead and talk about one more later on in this list, but for the most part there's not a lot of great perks in this game. But what makes a lot of sense with this individual perk is to pair it with one of the better field upgrades in the game, and that is going to be Dead Silence. Because the current issue with the game is literally, if you see those footsteps, if you decide to chase after them, the enemy will pretty much be able to hear you. They'll go ahead and turn around, pre-aim wherever you're coming from, and that's going to lead to an easy death for you and an easy kill for them. So after they already went ahead and buffed Dead Silence, they make it so your footsteps are basically inaudible, so you could pretty much run around the entire map and no one will be able to hear you when you actually have Dead Silence activated. And it's one of those field upgrades that is on the fast end to earn, meaning that you're going to earn it in about 90 seconds. And that doesn't even count the fact that non-streak kills will actually contribute to you earning this field upgrade faster, along with playing the objective. What I mean by that is if you end up playing the objective or get non-streak kills, each of those actions will actually reduce the time it takes you to earn a field upgrade by approximately 10 seconds. And the other part to keep in mind is Dead Silence actually promotes faster play, because obviously if the enemies can't hear you, you can kind of run around a little bit more aggressively. You're also going to have approximately a 5% speed boost when you're running around. Not a huge difference, but definitely noticeable. And once you go ahead and activate it, it's going to last approximately 15 seconds. And then if you're able to get a kill within that time, it'll restart that 15-second timer. So if you manage to just go on a non-stop killing spree, you could theoretically run around with Dead Silence for the entire match. So I highly recommend this particular field upgrade for all those various reasons. And that's going to bring us to the number 3 ranked perk on my list, and that's going to be Tuneup. And what Tuneup's designed to do is reduce the time it takes you to earn an individual field upgrade by 33%. So obviously this is very effective for some of those field upgrades that take a lot longer to earn, but it's still effective for even the ones that take almost no time at all. Because if we look at the Dead Silence, for example, it would take 90 seconds without any score. And then if you're able to get some kills, it's going to knock that down significantly. With this particular upgrade, it's going to start off with 60 seconds, and if you're able to get about 3 or 4 kills, pretty much you already have Dead Silence. And as we jump into the next field upgrade, what you're going to see is this particular perk kind of ends up being a little bit overpowered, and I think in the long run they might actually end up nerfing this perk because it is just a little bit too strong when you combine it with the Munitions Box field upgrade. And in case you guys don't know what the Munitions Box actually does, even though it's basically the first unlock, pretty much what you're going to do is go ahead and throw it down. It'll resupply your ammo, a lethal, and a tactical. But just like the other field upgrades, if you're combining this with Tuneup and you're getting kills, this thing is actually going to allow you to get the ammo box pretty often. And that's actually particularly useful because if you were going to go ahead and try and lock down an area, hold a power position, and play the game the way it's designed, you're going to want to place claymores at the entrances of wherever you're holding down, so you can go ahead and secure that area. So when you actually combine this with the actual claymore, tune-up, and then you have the munitions box, what you're going to be able to do is place a claymore, enemy runs into it, that kill is going to contribute to you earning your munitions box faster. And pretty much how slow the pace of the game is, you should be able to almost always have a claymore on hand by the time that individual one blows up. So once it gets blown up, you're going to place another one down, you're going to throw down your munitions box, and you kind of just continue to repeat that process. And on top of that, this will actually replace that scavenger perk in the perk 1 slot, so you can actually run a couple other perks that are a little bit more valuable. So I was actually sent the Scuf Vantage 2 controller to go ahead and try out because they had heard I did a review on the Astro 40 controller as well as having the regular Vantage controller, and overall I feel like they went ahead and fixed a lot of the issues that the first one had, and they actually added a ton more options. Personally, I've always preferred the offset thumbstick, and that's actually why I'm liking the Vantage 2 over the Scuf Impact, but it really is going to come down to personal preference. I think having one of these controllers just makes it a lot more ergonomic for you to actually play these games when you're worried about jumping, crouching, sliding, and all that stuff while maintaining your accuracy. I'm not currently sponsored by Scuf, but if you'd like to check out a little bit more information on the controller, a link will be in the description. A couple side notes in terms of field upgrades is the deployable cover would have actually made this list, and it kind of does as an honorable mention, but the biggest issue with that one is it has a fast earn rate, and you're only able to have one shield down at a time. That being said, the deployable cover can be very useful if you're trying to get your mounted kills because you could pretty much place that deployable cover anywhere you'd like. And one other thing I've been getting a lot of questions about is the Field Upgrade Pro. In case you guys didn't know, you can actually equip 2 different field upgrades at the exact same time. And my first thought was that seems a little bit too good to be true, so I had to go ahead and do my testing to figure out, does it make sense to run 2 field upgrades? And what I noticed is it kind of combines the time of the 2 different field upgrades you choose. If you go ahead and run Dead Silence with another fast one, those 2 times will pretty much kind of add up together. If you go ahead and run Dead Silence with the munitions box, it'll take you almost 4 minutes to earn it if you get no score, compared to the 90 seconds and the 2.5 minutes it would take otherwise. And if you do end up running the 2 and you decide to use Dead Silence, it'll go ahead and start that 90-second timer. If you ended up going with the munitions box, it'll go ahead and go with that 2.5 minute timer. Obviously the kills and the overall captures will contribute to lowering this time, but it still has an overall start time that is significantly slower than as if you ran only one of them. And I thought that's something you guys should be aware of before you decide to do Field Upgrade Pro. That's going to bring us to the number 2 perk on this list, and that is going to be EOD. I don't think there's another perk that saves you from dying as often as EOD, because like I was mentioning with Tuneup and the munitions box, you're able to place claymores with a pretty high frequency, so this allows you to kind of eat one claymore. If you're running around the corner, you can kind of back off, wait to come to full health, and then go ahead and recharge that specific player that is camping that area. Obviously, I wish EOD could be a little bit stronger against those, because if you get hit with the claymore, a nade, or whatever else, you're pretty much instantly dead if you take any additional damage, regardless of what kind of damage that is. So it's just something to keep in mind with EOD. It doesn't block all the damage. It doesn't even block most of the damage. It kind of blocks just a little bit, enough to keep you alive. And that's going to bring us to the number 1 perk in the entire game, and that is going to be Ghost. I could see Ghost getting nerfed in the near future just because it is a little bit overpowered. I personally think it should only work as long as you're not stationary. I'm not saying you have to be sprinting, but you should be moving for it to be active. One little heads up I did want to give you about Ghost, because a lot of times people like to equip Ghost with a suppressor because you like having a stealth class, and obviously if you combine that with Dead Silence, you have the ultimate stealth class, right? That's pretty much how it's always been in every single Call of Duty. You equip some kind of Dead Silence, you equip Ghost, you equip a suppressor, and pretty much no one can ever see you. And obviously we've already kind of talked about the change with Dead Silence, how now it's a field upgrade instead of a perk. But the thing that they really haven't mentioned, and I really haven't seen a lot of people mention, is when it comes to suppressors. I think most people are under the assumption if you equip a suppressor, you're going to stay off the compass, you're going to stay off the minimap. But unfortunately, within Modern Warfare, they decided to go a different route. Pretty much no matter what you have equipped, you will pop up on the compass when you fire your weapon, regardless if you have a Ghost, regardless if you have a suppressor. When someone calls in a UAV and you fire your weapon, you will pop up on the minimap, even if you have a suppressor and Ghost, when the enemy team has a UAV up in the air for the 30-second time span. Every time you fire your weapon, regardless of the suppressor, regardless of the weapon with the suppressor, you will pop up on the minimap and on the compass. So it's definitely something I thought I should point out combined with Ghost, because I think a lot of people are under the assumption you run Ghost, you run a suppressor, you're going to stay out the minimap. So I thought you definitely should know that. So I was able to run through my top 5 perks and the best field upgrades, at least in my opinion, for Modern Warfare. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, hitting that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, would like to find your way back, made it to this point in the video, you should probably go ahead and subscribe with notifications on so you get an alert when my next video goes live. I do appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.